Hey guys, welcome back to Chaos Core Tech. My name's Garrett, and today we're going to do sort of a Q&A, or maybe an FAQ might be a little more appropriate, because these are the top 5 most frequently asked questions that I get. And I figured since I was taking a couple weeks off from modeling here, this would be a perfect time to do this video. So let's get right into it. The first question, I think this is probably the one that I get the most, and that is, do you sell your models? And this question also kind of goes along with the comment, you could make a lot of money selling these, which I get on my Slime Rancher guys a lot. So the short answer to do I sell these is no. And I have several reasons for that. The first being practicality. These, it takes a long time, one, to model them, but that's kind of a one-time thing. But, printing one and making one is very, very different than like mass producing them. And just the time that it takes me to print them, and then the time that it takes my wife to finish these, we would have to charge so much for just one of those tiny little slimes that it wouldn't be worth it. No one would pay that, and I wouldn't feel okay charging that amount for it. And the next reason is there's always the question of copyright and things like that. It's kind of a gray area with fair use and everything. And I know there's a lot of people like on Etsy and things like that do sell copyrighted character themed things. And I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know any of the specifics, but that's just a realm that I would not like to touch in. I will just continue making these that I think can be considered fan art, and then move on. That kind of leads to the third reason that I don't sell them. I really do these just for fun and for the YouTube channel. And taking all the time to just sell these and try to build a business model around these little model things that I create, it would take so much time away from the channel that I wouldn't be able to put as much attention as I do into the channel, and it would end up suffering, and I would struggle to build a feasible business out of this type of thing. So that is the long answer for why I just don't sell these things. Now, question number 2 that I get quite often, and these are usually in the form of an email or a message on Thingiverse, and it's sort of related, and is, do you take commissions? And that is basically people reaching out to me, wanting to pay me to make something for them. And they usually have a specific model in mind and stuff like that. And the answer for this is kind of the same as the last question, in regards to, if I were to build a business model around that, it would take too much time, and I would not be able to put as much effort towards the YouTube channel. There's just a lot of weird legal things that come into play when someone's paying you to make something for them. It's basically freelancing, and, if you don't protect your butt legally with those, it can get ugly real quick. So it's just something that I wouldn't enjoy doing. So whenever I get an email like that, I just try to politely decline and explain sort of the reasoning for it. But yeah, that is the reason I do not take commissions. Okay, another question that I get a lot is, why don't I just use the video game models instead of modeling things myself? And that is in reference to some people that make just dumps of all the files on video games. So you can actually extract 3D models from a lot of those games. And things like Pokemon and stuff like that, there are actually 3D models out there that you can download directly from the games. And I think they have pretty much all of them out there. So people ask me a lot why I don't just use those instead of taking the time to model my own. And there's 2 big reasons for that. The first being that video game models are very optimized to be video game models. They're often very polygonal, and there's a lot of post-processing and image work that goes into rendering those things to the screen before your eyes see them to make them look not as polygonal. And there's a lot of like texture effects and things like that go into it. Like a good example is the Voltorb Pokemon that I made. I actually etched in the details of the eyes and the line around him, and in the game he would just be a sphere, and all that would be done by textures. So if you downloaded that model, you would just have a sphere. And then the second and probably biggest reason why I don't is that my main goal with the channel is to improve my own skills. So I do these things as more of a challenge rather than to just have the model. So I'm trying to build a skill of my own. So I just pick really fun characters that I think might be challenging, and I roll with that. And then the next question is also related to that one, and I get it occasionally when I make something and people will comment and say, there's already a model out there for this. I can't think of one specifically, but just as an off example, You know, it's like, say that I made like a Pikachu, someone would comment and say, hey, there's already a Pikachu model on Thingiverse, basically implying why would you make another one if one's already there. And that's kind of the same thing. You know, I like to build my own skills, and I don't even look at what's out there before I create these things usually. So I'm not really concerned with what other people have done. I just like to, you know, I take that challenge and I see if I can work through it. And having more variety never hurts. You know, I doubt anyone's going to complain if they go to Thingiverse, type in Pikachu, and then they have 4 different ones to choose from and they can pick which one they like the most. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. So I see it as a good thing. And number 5, last but certainly not least, I used to get this question a lot more than I do now, but that question is, why don't you make useful things? And I'm sure most of you know this. It's just a personal preference. You know, I actually had one comment a while ago. I don't even remember what video it was on. But someone commented and said, all you ever do is make these useless things. Why would I spend thousands of dollars on a 3D printer just to make toys? And he was just very, very unhappy that I was making the things I was making rather than making functional objects. And to that, I basically just say, you know, I'm more interested in the art side of things. You know, he was implying that, you know, 3D printers can only be used for toys and things like that. And that is 110% not the case. There are so many great creators out there creating useful things, and I've used my printer to create useful things. I have a couple of videos that are useful things, and a lot of times when I print something, it's very, very specific and one-off, and I don't think it would make an interesting video, so I just don't make a video about it. But printers can absolutely be used to create useful things. It's just, it comes down to whatever you choose to make, and I am more interested in the art side of things. I want to create little artistic things that work on my 3D modeling skills so I can get to the point where I can make whatever I want. That's what I'm interested in. And if you're not interested in that, then that is totally fine. You know, I never want to force anyone to watch my videos because I know that this sort of thing isn't for everyone. But if you prefer useful things but still like some of my videos, you know, I still try to provide value in the form of talking about how I created the models and some techniques that I used that can definitely be applied to creating functional objects. Okay guys, well that was my top 5 most frequently asked questions. So hopefully that will help tide you guys over while I'm taking a little bit of a break and getting the next round of models prepared for you guys. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.